Okay, so converting 7,600 meters to kilometers, what should I do? Yes, so 7,600 divided by 1,000 will be 7.6 kilometers. Good. All right, now let's revise perimeter. Remember that if those lines on there, if one of them's 85, it means this other one over here is going to be 85 centimeters as well. So perimeter will be equal to 85 plus 98 plus 220 plus 85. Did you work that out? What did you get? Oh, you did it wrong. 488. Yep, looks good to me. Centimeters. And B, now what are each one of those little lines worth? It is 5. Because 15 is the whole way. And if you did one, oh, that's a bit long. Go away that bit. If we did that, that, and that, so 3 of them would make the 15, which means 5 each. So 5 there, 5 there, 5 there, and then these little ones on the sides as well will be 5. And I'm still missing the 9 from that side. All right, so P for perimeter equals, starting with 15 on the top, plus 9, plus, now we could just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 5, or you can go 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, 5 times, and then plus another 9 on. What does that equal? $58 centimeters. Okay, so that was last lesson when we did perimeter of straight-sided shapes. We're going to be talking about perimeter of circles today, but before we do that, we need to know the names of a bunch of different parts of circles. So this bit here, we're going to go through what they all are. This first one, a circle that has a center of O and a diameter of AB, so that's my diameter, creates 2 semicircles. I would have one semicircle, so half a circle on this side and half a circle on that side. So there's probably 2 words in there that you need to know. We have a diameter, which is going from one side to the other, and we have the semicircles for each half. A circle with a radius of OA, so that's the radius there, and OB, those radii, when it's plural, we say radii, are equal length. So no matter where you draw the radius, it's always the same no matter where you go in the circle. 3 concentric circles with the center O. Concentric means that the circles all have the same center, but they have a different radius. So you have all these different sized circles coming out of that same origin. A and B are points on the circumference. So the circumference is what we call the length of the line or of the circle going around the outside. And these points, A and B, are points that are on that circumference, on that line. If we only take a part of that circumference, so from A to B there, that would be called an arc. If I was to join the arc with the radius coming out from the center, that shape that we're cutting off there is called a sector. So it's like a piece of pizza. From the center out, the wedge that you're cutting out is called a sector. If you cut from one side of the circle to the other, but not necessarily through the center, then that line is called a chord. And when you have the chord, it cuts your circle into 2 parts, and we call the 2 parts segments. The smaller part is called the minor segment because it's smaller, it's minor. The larger part is called the major segment. And a quadrant is a special name for a quarter of a circle. Okay? All right. Let's practice trying to draw some of those things on our circle here. So it's label and circle with the parts mentioned on the previous page. So let's start with something easy, the center. Yep, let's draw a dot in the middle. And that is going to be the center of my circle. Okay, what else would I need to know? What's another word that we just learnt about? Getting my ruler ready. A diameter. Okay, so if I go from one side to the other, that is a diameter. What else? What about from the center to the edge? Yeah, I'll get to that part. I wasn't going to do that just yet. Just that line, the line that goes from the center to the edge is the radius. Good. But what you were talking about, Kobe, is if I cut off that section, that area that's between those two lines, the two radii, that would be called a sector. So that green bit there. Okay, what about, I draw another line that goes like that. What's that line called? Yeah, chord. And the chord cuts the circle into segments. So I'm just going to say that this part here is a segment. It would be the smaller segment known as the minor segment. The major segment would be on the other side. Something else that I can remember that we talked about would be something that I would draw that would look like that. What would that be called? A section of the circumference. That's the arc, that's right. All right, did I forget anything? Did we cover everything? I didn't draw the circumference the whole way around. I think that pretty much covers what we were talking about. So you need to know all those bits.
What about
the concentric circles. Oh, yeah, you're right. That's going to make a big mess of my diagram, isn't it? Maybe I'll draw it over here on the side. So the concentric circles would be multiple circles inside each other, like that. Okay, so moving on to the next part is the finding the circumference of a circle. This is the perimeter. So we are still doing perimeter, but for circles, for some reason, we want to call it circumference instead. Okay, so there are two formulas depending on whether you are given the radius, which is from the center to the edge, or if you're given the diameter, which is the whole way across. If you're given the radius, you want to use c is equal to 2 pi r. If you're given the diameter, you're going to use c is equal to pi d. Okay, so here's my questions. In question 1, am I given a radius or a diameter? Okay, so what formula am I going to use? C equals pi d. Excellent. So there's going to be 3 lines of working out. We want to see the formula, then we want to sub into the formula, and then we want the answer. So subbing into the formula, I want to put in that d is equal to 24. So it'll be pi times 24. The third line in your calculator. To get the pi, you need to press shift and the times 10 button right down here at the bottom. Okay, so you got your pi, then you times it by 24. We're going to do one decimal place, sounds like a plan, all right? 75.4 centimeters. So the question didn't say how many decimal places, so as long as you round correctly, that is fine. Let's do it again. Question 2. Is that 5 a radius or a diameter? A radius. So what's my formula this time? Correct. So second line, sub in 2 pi times 5, because the radius is 5. In the calculator, 2 pi times 5. equals 30.
31.
That's right. 31.4 meters. Okay, they would be the main type of question. But to make it a little bit harder, maybe we won't have a whole circle. We might only have half a circle or a quarter of a circle. So we're going to have to adjust our formulas a little bit. Now, the first one is a semicircle, which means it's half of a circle. Is the 10 a radius or a diameter? Diameter. So I'm going to change it to P for perimeter because it's not just the circle that we're going to have to find here. The formula that I want is pi d, but I only have half of a circle. So I'm going to put a half in front of it for half of the circle. Now, you've got to think about this really carefully because what we've just found is the length of that curve. That's my half a circle. Is that the whole perimeter? No. What do I need to make that a whole perimeter? I need to add on that extra straight side. So I'm going to put in here plus the 10 to close it in. Okay, second line, I need to sub in my diameter. So it's going to be half, and you may want to put a times between your half and your pi. So half times pi times my diameter, which is 10, plussing on my extra straight side, which was 10. Okay, calculator time. I type in 0.5 for half, it's a little bit faster, times pi times 10 plus 10 to one decimal. Actually, no, question says 2 decimal places, so I better do what it says. 25. Very good. And that will be centimetres. Okay, so if we did that for half a circle, can we do the quarter circle now? Which formula am I going to use? Is that 20? It's the radius, right? So that's going to be the 2 pi r formula, but I left a space in front of it because how much circle do I have? A quarter. So it's a quarter times by the 2 pi r. Some people write that they do 2 pi r and then they go divide by 4. That's okay as well. That means the same thing. That will give me the curved bit. That's not the whole perimeter though, is it? I'm going to have to add on 2 of these. Or I could just go plus 40. You can go plus 20 or plus 40 if you want to do it in one go. Okay, second line, sub in quarter times 2 pi times my radius, which is 20, plus the 40 for the straight sides. Okay, so quarter times 2 pi times 20 plus the 40 to 2 decimal places. 71.42 centimetres. Okay, question 4. You've written that down? A scooter tyre has a diameter of 32. Now, a tyre is always a whole circle. Okay, otherwise it wouldn't be a tyre. The diameter, which means the whole way across, is 32 centimetres. What is the perimeter of the tyre? It's just a wordy way of saying what is the circumference of that circle. What is the formula that I should use? Pi d, c equals pi d. If it's a whole circle, we just tend to use c equals. I change it to p when I've got extra sides that I have to add on. But if you do a c, if you use a c or a p, it's not going to be wrong, okay? Subbing in, pi times 32 equals, it doesn't say where to round it. Yeah, let's do 1. Yeah, 100.5 centimetres. Okay, that's it. You get to start here.